20 was my first day. July 21 was my first board meeting, and I was introduced to the acronym EDR. A challenge. While that is still under legal review, I have done some administrative review of what led us there and how we can work as a system, not only in that type of issue, but our entire financial picture. And to ensure that we are, again, aligning our resources against our priorities, do things like ensure thorough legal review of all of our contracts and purchases, ensure that we provide enough transparency and opportunity to the board and the community to comment on that we've actually already done. And one of the things, ensure that especially through all major purchases, we seek out and we honor and we use end user evaluation of what we seek to procure. Okay, that's going to be really, really important. Now, I will tell you that I've done sort of a deep dive in reviewing our finances and reviewing third-party review of our finances. And what I found is that our finances, we tend to be pretty technically sound in our finances from a reporting standpoint. Whether or not we know that we are funding priorities adequately is a different consideration. That's not simple. I'm not an accountant, but that's not simple ensuring the X's and the O's are in the right location. Are we actually funding appropriately our priorities? Do we know and are we leveraging within a strategic plan each and every dollar that we have from all dollar sources, whether it be operational, capital, grants, et cetera, et cetera? And do we know how they're being applied against our strategies? We need to do this, and we need to make sure that we leave no rock unturned in this vein. Because I will tell you, while I found very, very sound technical practices, and our folks in that area ought to be congratulated, it isn't difficult to make a huge mistake. If we are not as efficient as humanly possible with each and every dollar, do a quick non-common core math problem. Approximately $850 million worth of budget. What is a 1% inefficiency? It's about $8.5 million. Hopefully I did that math correct because we're being recorded here. It's not difficult. It's actually very, very easy to make a huge mistake. If that's the case, we need to become as focused as humanly possible on making sure we're at 100% cost efficiency. On that note, I've heard several people bring my attention to items that can be done to save money, to eliminate waste. One of the strategies I want to put forward is to empower and arm the entire community, especially all 9,000 employees, to let me know, let the system know where you think there is a wasted dollar. I will apply some of the same science that brought us here today to see whether or not you have a good point, and where I find the dollar goes back to the employee in salary, benefits, work environment, work product, et cetera, et cetera. So I want to empower everyone to show us where potential wasted dollars are. I will tell you, I've run into community leaders who very much resent the closure of several schools here a few years ago. I've run into people who oppose where new schools were built or how much was spent on those schools. I've run into community leaders who seek to pressure the system to open new schools due to increased enrollment and or increased population. I've run into people who actually oppose the sales skeptical on whether or not we will spend those dollars appropriately. As I mentioned a few slides ago, I've encountered people who take exception to where new programs are placed and where new programs are not. I've encountered people who actually do a great deal of transparency and community involvement in everything that I just mentioned. I will tell you, those items I just spoke to speak to student growth, program placement, capital spending, community input, etc., etc., etc. And right now, as an organization, we have groups of people that work on that work, but we need to bring it all together under one umbrella to prove to the entire community that we have clear, transparent protocols, we value community input, we'll exhaust all of our capital dollars when we're looking at how students are placed and the programs that they have access and opportunity to. Last but not least, the community. This slide speaks to our desire, the board's desire, my desire, to be the best partners and neighbors to Brevard County as humanly possible. It speaks to that as a part of my onboarding, I was able to notice that we had pretty good parent outreach, pretty good connectivity to our volunteers in the community, pretty good connectivity to our business partners, and really good connectivity to our senior citizens who come back in our schools, they volunteer, etc., etc. I noticed that our interactions and our relationships with our municipalities, our county government, and our state elected officials were not where they could or should be. And so I'm calling that out as an extra priority within community engagement to really work towards building upon the other relationships that I talked about to make sure we have a really, really good relationship with our elected officials, municipal, county, state as well.